Good morning, members of the board. On behalf of the International Chiropractic Association, an intervener in this proceeding, I would like to call Dr. David Cassidy to the witness stand, and he will be presenting the testimony pre-filed by the International Chiropractic Association. Dr. Cassidy, would you please take you are here today on behalf of the International Chiropractic Association. And could you briefly summarize the key points of the ICA's position with regard to the question before the board on the issue of informed consent and whether there ought to be a mandate to include a discussion of the
issue that I agree
stroke.
with, that we do not know that chiropractic care is a cause for vertebral basilar artery stroke, and that therefore if we do not know that, informed consent is not really informed, because we don't know what the risk is. We don't know if there's a risk.
And that's the ICA's position?
I think that's
the ICA. Dr. Cassidy, what I'm trying to establish is that the statement that we found no evidence of excess risk is not the same as saying we found no risk.
Well, I think it is, and if I may explain the study,
okay.
It's actually fairly simple, and that is that we looked at the association between chiropractic visit and stroke, and the association between visits to family doctors and stroke. And the assumption was that family doctors don't cause stroke, but there's a possibility that people in the prodrome of stroke are visiting both chiropractors and family doctors, because these types of stroke present with neck pain and headache. So that's why we also studied family doctors, and when you subtract that background risk, in other words, the risk association, the association between family doctor care and this stroke, it's no different than the chiropractic care in this type of stroke. So the conclusion is that there's no added risk, and we state this in the paper, that the most likely explanation for this is that people with this rare type of condition are presenting to both family physicians and chiropractors, and that their treatments from both, or visits to both, are not in the cause.
Would you expect that there be a higher degree of association between chiropractic care that involved a specific manipulation of the neck? Would there be a higher association with the risk for stroke when there's a cervical manipulation than when there's not?
First of all, I want to use the term association. So you can use the term risk, but we're talking about associations.
Okay, we'll use your term.
I'd like to make this clear, and maybe the board should know this from an epidemiologist, that there is a difference between risk and association. Studies can provide information on association, but risk is something that is when someone looks at the risk of something, they have to take in the best evidence and then make causal reasoning. So when I'm talking about the estimates here, I'm talking about an association. When I talk about risk, I'm talking about the reasoning that would come from this study and other studies.
Okay.
It's a subtle but important difference. And I think it's come up in this chamber earlier.
Dr. Cassidy, I believe you identified yourself as either currently or at one point in your career been a practicing chiropractor.
Yes.
Has anyone ever suffered a stroke after you performed a cervical neck manipulation on that patient? And
I wrote that case up.
And do you believe that the manipulation might have been a possible cause of the stroke?
I did at the time, but I don't now.
Okay. And because of your study?
Because of the study, yes.
Okay. But your study does conclude, quote, we have not ruled out neck manipulation as a potential cause of VBA strokes.
We have not, but if one was to accept that, one would then have to say that physicians are causing these strokes too, and I don't think they are.